Today I'm going to use the Canon R6 Mark II and the 14-35 and 24-105 f4L lenses to photograph this beautiful little waterfall, Richey Ridge Falls, near Highway 111 in Tennessee.
Hello and good morning. It's Phil Thatch and I'm here today at the Heist Mountain Trailhead, part of the Cumberland Trail system in Tennessee. And I am taking the very short hike to a waterfall called Richey Ridge Falls, which I've photographed a number of times. I've never photographed it with my R6 Mark II, so that'll be a little different. And we had a lot of rain yesterday, which is good. This waterfall, if you haven't had a lot of really good rain, it won't be flowing at all. So hopefully it will be flowing. There's the creek right there. And it's amazing how short this hike is, because I started this video clip that you're watching right now at the trailhead, and right there is the top of the falls. So super easy to get here. I highly recommend it. It's not a huge falls. I think it's only 15 or so feet tall, but I'm going to scramble my way down to the bottom of it and try to come up with some compositions using the R6 Mark II. And I've brought my 14-35 and the 24-105. Both of those are f4s. Kind of my new waterfall setup is that trio of pieces of Canon gear. It's kind of a double falls. I'll take you over to it. It kind of splits and makes a falls on the left and a falls on the right. I've seen it with higher flow than this, but I've definitely seen it with lower flow than this too. So I'm going to get started, and I'll share with you what I come up with. I would argue that the right-hand side of this kind of a split waterfall is the prettier side. And so with that in mind, whoa, it's pretty shaky right here. With that in mind, I've got the 14-35 with the Maven circular polarizer filter on, shooting just the right-hand side of the waterfall. And I'm doing a focus bracket, and it's just the whole screen is filled with the falls from top to bottom. Not much else going on. So that's kind of a low-hanging fruit composition, and I'll show that to you now. But I'm going to work on some more things.
Here is the photograph of the right-hand side of the Richey Ridge double waterfall. And I said it was the prettier side, but maybe later in this video I may have different ideas. Here is a photograph that I made of both sides of Richey Ridge Falls at 1/6 of a second using the circular polarizer and the 14-35.
I came over to the other side just a few steps to the left and made a shot first of the entire left side falls, and then of just kind of the bottom half of the left side falls at about 24 or 23 millimeters. And I've started out shooting f8 with the circular polarizer. Now I've gone to f11, which gives me just a little bit more shutter speed and makes the waterfall look just about right. I could go really, really long with the shutter speeds on this, and I may do that. You know what? I think I'm going to put on a neutral density folder and see what it looks like with a long shutter speed. I did put my neutral density filter on, brought the camera back down to f8, and took some more individual shots of the left side of Richey Ridge Falls. And I made a few horizontals, and then I switched to vertical, and I'm starting, it's got kind of like one little stream at the very top, and above that is horrible looking sky. I've gone back horizontal for this shot that seems like it should be a vertical with how narrow this falls is. But as it comes down through this little squeeze here, I like the texture of the rocks with the moss on the left-hand side, and this moss has a lot, or this rock on the right-hand side has a lot of character. So I've gone back horizontal, and I'm shooting kind of a wide shot with, you know, I probably won't, maybe I'll present it 16:9. We'll see how it works. Definitely, it's got some sky in it for sure. Definitely will be cropping that out. I don't know, I've never really paid attention to just this side of this falls before, and this has to be the 4th or 5th time I've come here. So cool.
Here's my photo that I worked on for so long of the left side of Richey Ridge Falls, and this shot is really more about the boulders and rocks in the foreground with the moss and all their interesting angles than it is about the waterfall.
I'm up above the falls now. I've never made photos from up here, but I've always thought it was kind of pretty. The creek splits before it gets to the falls, and I'm on the side that goes to the left if you're looking down at the falls, or to the right if you're looking up at the falls, which is the bigger of the two sides. And I found this area right over here that I thought was really pretty, as it's just kind of a little cascade as the creek meanders through these rocks. And I'm having trouble framing up a shot. I've done really, really low. I've done really, really high. I think I'm going to go even higher and try to make a shot. Plus I've got the sun occasionally coming through. It's partly cloudy this morning, so I'm going to continue working on it, and hopefully I'll get something here. I worked on my shot from this beautiful spot for a really long time. I started out with the 14 to 35 on and shooting really low and ultra wide, and I started raising my tripod because you could see the scene behind me better, and then I started moving back and using more focal length to try to compress it. And in the end, I came all the way back here, and I was standing in the spot where I started. I came all the way back here, and very rare for me, I have my tripod on dry land, and I'm using the 24 to 105. I switched lenses. I think my final shot was at about 58 millimeters and 4/10 of a second f8. But you know, the beauty of digital photography is you can take lots of different versions of waterfall, and kind of, you know, sometimes it's hard to figure out if your composition is just right on the back of the camera or looking through the viewfinder. But you know, I can take it home and put it in the computer and pick out which one I like best. But I have lots of versions to choose from, and surely one of them will be okay. This is not an amazing place right here, but it's not bad. So hopefully it turns out okay. I don't think it'll be as good as the shots from down there at the actual waterfall, but maybe it will. Who knows?
I did end up using the final version of that composition with the 58 millimeter shot using the 24 to 105. It was kind of a struggle all day to get compositions that I liked.
I moved downstream a little bit further. I'm on top of this boulder, and right there is the top of the waterfall, and you can actually see it cascading down, and you can even see the other side of the waterfall over there. But I'm working now on what actually made me want to come to this spot in the first place, and that's this little spill right here, which I think is absolutely beautiful. It's probably only 5 feet tall. I switched to the ultra wide lens and made a few more shots of this little spill. It's really beautiful in person, but it's hard to capture it in a photograph. Hopefully one of those is decent, and I'll show that to you now.
I'm not sure, but this may end up being my favorite shot of the entire day. I love to do an ultra wide shot and crop the top and the bottom of it off to really enhance the width that ultra wide lens can get. And I left that branch in the waterfall intentionally there on the left hand side. I thought about walking over and pulling it out of the waterfall, but I thought it gave the shot some more depth, so I left it.
Well, it's partly cloudy this morning, but the later it gets, it's becoming more sunny than cloudy, and that's kind of hurting my photos, so I'm going to call it a morning. I really appreciate you joining me today. I hope you like the content. If you do, give me a thumbs up, subscribe, hit the bell. Lots more stuff like this, and even more wildlife. Look here, look how strong that sun is. Really cool place, Richey Ridge Falls. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.